HaShem na'aseh v'natzliach, shiur Torah, bruchim habayim. We're back here starting a new week. Baruch HaShem, new week, new Torah, new shiurim, new insights to improve our lives and certainly get some more Torah under our belts. Baruch HaShem. Tonight's shiur will be for the Refuah Shlema for Rabbi Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, Avimori David ben Esriya, Imi Morati Doris bat Joah, Sarah bat Esther, and all of Am Yisrael and all the righteous Noahides and everybody that contributes to our organization to help us with everything that we're doing, Baruch Hashem. So with that being said, just reminding everybody, go to bhkiruv.org. It's our Kiruv store where you can get free copies of our books. They're all in Hebrew, so only if you have Hebrew-speaking community, you can get some books to distribute in your community, or you can get some of these movie cards where you could get people to go to our website and certainly change their lives. If anybody wants proofs of people's lives being changed, just watch the most recent podcast that we put on our channel last night. Extraordinary story. But a young man and his wife, and now Baruch Hashem kids, what they went through over the last several years through their tshuva, conversion, fake conversions, missionaries, lots of interesting things. Baruch Hashem, it's a fantastic story of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to do in order to get our attention. And Baruch Hashem, the story had a little bit to do with us, where we started it with our Shabbaton that we did in Arizona several years ago. I think it was maybe 6-7 years ago, something like that. And Baruch Hashem, it's had a good ending, let's just say that. But it's only the beginning at the same token. So it's a good ending, but only the beginning. So watch the podcast. There's obviously a couple of other ones before it, and BeEzrat Hashem, there's a new one next week. BeEzrat Hashem, each Moshe Shabbat, we're going to have a new story. If you're interested in having your story on and be interviewed, let us know by sending us a email, and BeEzrat Hashem, we'll go from there. So with that being said, we have our series, and the Chazon Ish started a new section in the Sefer Emunah V'Bitachon. And the new section, in so many words, told us that one of the benefits of acquiring wisdom, and there is no wisdom other than Torah, because the Torah has all 7 wisdoms within it. And one of the benefits of acquiring this wisdom is that it's going to compel a person to run away from those things that are bad for him, those things that are bad for her. A woman that's looking for people to look at her because she needs that for her confidence. That's a unfortunate spiritual sickness where women think their status is confirmed or their beauty is confirmed as a result of other people looking at them and admiring them and fantasizing over them. She doesn't realize that the entire nation of Midian was wiped off of history because they did the same thing. All of the other nations that went against Am Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us to go fight them, defend ourselves, destroy whoever wants to destroy us. But nonetheless, if they ran away or they stayed out of our way, there was no problem. But the nation of Midian that did not go to war with us with knives and guns, but rather with their immodesty, and caused us to sin. We learned from last week's parasha, and again from this week's parasha, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded us to wipe them out completely and leave no memory of their existence altogether. Because Gadol HaMachtio Yoter Min HaOrgo, someone that causes another person to sin is worse than a murderer. That's what the Torah says in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So a woman that's looking for confirmations of her beauty from different people, unfortunately, is a woman that is just acquiring, microphone is down. It's just a woman that's acquiring more and more sins and not realizing that each and every single day that she exists with this particular spiritual sickness, she's literally killing herself, killing her family, killing her business, killing her kids, killing everything without even realizing it because she sees everyone alive. So it's important for a person to understand that when, okay, again, I'm getting a notice over here. Oh, it's fine. Okay, don't send me notices. Everything is fine. Okay, good. Oh, HaShem. All right. So a person doesn't necessarily realize the damage that can sometimes happen to him, because usually people feel pain, but they don't realize that many times the what happened that will eventually cause the biggest amount of pain typically doesn't hurt along the way. One of the examples, physically speaking, is cancer. Cancer is the unfortunate bitter disease that actually doesn't hurt while it's growing, while it's consuming, while it's killing the person, while it's getting closer and closer to confirming that that person will not survive because it gets to stage 4. During that time, generally speaking, many times, it doesn't hurt the person and until it's too late. Until it's too late. Even more so with spiritual diseases. Many times people don't realize how the spiritual diseases that they have are actually killing them. And that's in essence what the Chazon Ish is trying to tell us, that when a person acquires the wisdom of the Torah, they're going to start sensing all of these different pains that they never knew existed. They're going to start becoming more sensitive to them. And in fact, they're going to start trying to get rid of these things, get rid of these spiritual diseases. One of the biggest and most horrific diseases of all is the disease of arrogance. When a person is prideful, a person is constantly looking for attention, a person is constantly looking for notoriety, especially for things that they didn't do, especially for things that don't even belong to them. And the worst type of arrogance is false humility, when a person pretends to be humble and in essence to present a certain case, to present himself in a certain way, only to take advantage of people, only to cause major harm to people. This Rabbi again, alav shalom, says in his sefer. Was it Rabbi again, or was it Rabbi Ephraim? This is a story that really is shocking, because it's a story that it could happen to anybody as a result of their lack of knowledge. In fact, it's actually it's by Rabbi Ephraim in his Sefer Sicha Shvuit in the last couple of chapters, and he says there was once a guy that came into town, and this guy was was looking to do business in Tripoli. Anyway, the guy, this is in the old days where things weren't the same as now. People didn't, have everything on credit cards. Everybody that wanted to do business carried their money with them. And one of the things that Jews would do is they would find some person that had a safe that they would be able to keep their money with them for Shabbat. So now this guy came into town. He doesn't know anybody. So he goes into the shul. He goes to the Bet Midrash. He sees who's there, and he sees this one particular guy that's with his tefillin on. It's Friday morning. Everyone has already left. The prayers and everything, but this guy's still there learning Torah with his talit on, his tefillin on. He's not chit chatting, nothing. And he walks up to the guy and he says, "Excuse me, can I speak to you?" And the guy's like, meaning he's in doing what's called Ta'ani Dibu, a speaking fast, where he's only focusing on learning Torah and he's not speaking anything mundane. So the guy at that moment sees, this guy's doing a speaking fast, Ta'ani Dibu. For sure I'm leaving my money with him. I'll just wait. I'll wait for him to finish studying. So he waited. A little while later, the guy picks his head up from the book. He says, "Yes, how can I help you?" He says, "Listen, I'm here new in town. I just came here to do some business. And I need to leave my money with somebody for Shabbat. So I was wondering if Kvodo would mind holding my money for me." And the guy says, "Sure, no problem." And they start walking together. He takes him to his house. And he gives him the money. And the businessman was so confident in this humble little creature, that this so-called tzaddik, that he didn't even have witnesses. He didn't ask him for any documents, nothing. He just, in his in his naive nature that he had, he figured looks are more than enough. He gave the guy the money. He was happy and content throughout all of Shabbat. And on Motzei Shabbat, he came to the guy's house, knocked on the door. As soon as the guy opens the door, he looks at him strangely. Yes, how can I help you? As if he doesn't know him. He says, oh, Kvodo, it's me. Yeah, I came, I left the money with you before Shabbat. And the guy says to him, you left money with me? I don't know you. I never seen you before. Come on, I just yesterday, I came with you, I came here with you. Remember, I'm the guy who came out of town to do business, came from Tripoli and everything, all that. The guy looks at him, did I give you any type of shtar, any type of document that certified that I took the money? Because that's how we do it according to the Torah. If we ever take anybody's money, we would give him something. I don't remember giving you anything. And the guy knows that this Conman got him. He has no proof whatsoever that this guy took his money. Immediately the guy is dejected and realizes that the Conman just took him for every single penny that he has. All because of the way he looks. He goes into the woods and he starts crying hysterically to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and says, Ribono shel olam, why should I be punished for having simple emunah? I saw the guy studying Torah. He looks like a tzaddik. He's so humble, and he ends up being a con man. Why do I have to be punished for that? And he cries to HaShem with bitter tears. He says, I promise you, I'm going to do tshuva. I'm not going to do this again. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had mercy on this guy, and he said the story himself, and he sent him Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu Navi meets him in the middle of the woods, and he says to him, my dear son, HaKadosh Baruch Hu heard your prayers, and he's going to help you. Go to the guy's house tomorrow as soon as he leaves. Watch outside of his house, and immediately after he leaves, go to his house and knock on the door. As soon as his wife opens the door, say, listen, I'm here. Your husband sent me. He told me that you need to give me the money, and just to make sure you know that he's the one that sent me, he told me that the code is that both of you ate chametz on Pesach, and you did not fast on Yom Kippur. Baruch Hashem, the guy gets the message, goes, he can't even sleep at night. He just can't wait for tomorrow. He can't wait for tomorrow. All of his life savings are there to get his money from this con man that pretended to be humble, that pretended to be righteous. He waits. As soon as the guy leaves to go to his job. What's his job? His job is conning people, pretending that he's humble. He was just the most recent victim. As soon as he leaves the house, he knocks on the door. The Rabbanit answers the door. Yes, how can I help you? He says, your husband, the rabbi, sent me. And he said, you need to give me the money. And just to make sure you know that he's the one that sent me, he said the code is that both of you ate chametz on Pesach and you did not fast on Yom Kippur. Immediately the Rabbanit's face turned from brown to white. Because people from the Middle East are a little brown. She turned white, like she came from Ashkenaz. Ran inside the house, got the money, it's brand new, nothing happened to it, didn't even have enough time to spend it. Gave him exactly what he gave, and he left. Short while later, the con man that pretends to be a rabbi comes back to the house. And she is angry at him. She says, yes, Rabbanit, what happened? She says, you moron, why'd you do it? She says, do what? Why'd you tell him? You exposed us. Now we're going to have to go and everyone's going to know. He said, expose what? What are you talking about? Why'd you tell the guy that we ate chametz on Pesach and we ate on Yom Kippur? We didn't fast. The guy's face, he now turned white. Immediately said, they're on to us. We have to get out of here. They packed up their bags and went to Khan, the next town. This, Rabotai, sometimes is a trap. It's a trap that happens in different communities, and that's why we always tell people, don't give money of substantial value to people that you don't know. Of course, today we don't have the same issues as they had in the past years, where somebody has to keep your money overnight for Shabbat. But of course, there's different ways that people keep your money, which is, in so many words, when people keep your tzedakah. You give the money that you give people in tzedakah, that's your real money. That's the money that's going to be there for you in Olam Haba. Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to tell you exactly how much money you have, how many souls you saved with that money, how many mitzvot you acquired with that money. So if you give the money that you're donating to lowlives, to degenerates, to Conman, to people that are using it for their for things that are not relevant to the Torah in any way, shape, or form, then of course they're going to show you that you've been conned your whole life, or at least several times by different people. We've all been conned at one point or another, so don't feel too bad about it if it happened to you once. Just make sure you don't arrive in Shamayim and all of the money that you have over there belongs to Conman. So the Chazon Ish, in essence, is telling us that in order for us to not be that Conman, perhaps not the Conman like I explained, but the Conman for ourselves, the Conman that thinks that he's righteous, but in reality is wicked. Thinks that she's righteous, but in reality she's a reshait. Why? Because we still have some of these awful traits where we're constantly looking for attention, constantly getting angry, constantly jealous of people, constantly doing things that are spiritual sicknesses. The more Torah that a person acquires, the more they're going to start rejecting these things. And that's in essence the next section. If the Torah necessarily corrects one's character traits through labor in the Torah of it, and through acquiring wisdom, which has a natural ability to correct one's soul, the Torah also has a quality of light that cannot be grasped by a human brain. This special light lights up the spirit of whoever owns it and purifies it, so that the person's vision is illuminated, and he will love humility by its very nature, and hate pride by nature, love doing good to others by nature, and hate cruelty by nature, love patience and hate anger, because all the wise person will want to do will be to correct his character traits. Consequently, he will regret his bad tendencies exceedingly, and there will be no greater pain to him than the pain of having stumbled and committed some condemnable act. There is no greater joy for a wise man than his joy over having corrected his bad traits. And then he tells a story which we'll tell in a moment. So here in this particular section, the Chazon Ish is now going to the next segment, trying to explain to any one of us that is now teaching, learning, watching, any one of us that is in the world of Torah. You are trying to be a Torah learner. You're trying to be a student of the Torah, a Talmid Chacham. In so many words, you're trying to acquire wisdom. That's what you're doing here. At any, whether it's tonight that you're watching it live at 9 o'clock at night, or it's 6 o'clock because you're 3 hours back, or you're in the middle of the night, you're in Israel, or somewhere else in the world, wherever you are, wherever you're watching it, you're doing it because you're trying to acquire wisdom. The same reason of why you open a Gemara, same reason why you open the Chumash, why you open a MUSSAR book, an Halacha book. The reason why we all do it is because we're trying to acquire wisdom. But how do we know that the Torah is actually affecting us? When does it happen? Is there like a bell that comes off and ding, 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 you have Torah? Last I checked, no. Is there some message you get in the email or a text message? You have Torah. Last I checked, no. Does anybody come to your house and knock on your door and says, "Hi, sir, ma'am, yeah, you have Torah wisdom"? Last I checked, not so much. Do you have to be a teacher in order to acquire Torah? Not necessarily. There are plenty of Talmidei Chachamim and people that possess an enormous amount of Torah, both males and females, that don't necessarily teach anybody aside from their immediate family and any opportunity that they have. So, teaching is not necessarily always an indicator of whether someone has Torah or not. And unfortunately, we also know too well that there are many teachers that not only don't have Torah, it would be better off they wouldn't be teachers either. Because what they're teaching are things that are unfortunately the opposite of Torah. So, how do you know that the Torah is affecting you? And while we're asking that question, why is it that sometimes a person learns Torah, but their wife hates it. This is more common with wives hating it than with husbands hating it, but it happens on both ends. Person is learning Torah, they're watching the shiurim, and each time they're watching it, their spouse hates it. Hates it, not like they hate it like he doesn't like her dress. Not like hate it like he doesn't like her food. Not hate it like she doesn't like that he works too much. No. Hates it with a passion. Like they rather that person just simply not be home. They rather the person just go away for a weekend. They rather them do anything but learn Torah. Why? I mean, Torah is obviously amazing. Torah is the most extraordinary thing that a person can acquire. That's what the Chazon Ish is telling us. So why is it that sometimes a person learns Torah, but the other half of that person, the wife typically, doesn't approve and in fact hates it? These questions are going to be answered. And for all of us that have spouses that hate our Torah, you should know, spoiler, it's because of you, not the Torah. If the Torah necessarily corrects one's character through labor in the Torah and through acquiring wisdom, which has a natural ability to correct one's soul, the Torah also has a quality of light that cannot be grasped by a human brain. Here in this section is the first part of the answer. The Chazon Ish is telling us, the more you acquire Torah, the more you're going to start rejecting the negative character traits. You're going to reject arrogance. You're going to reject anger. You're going to reject stinginess. You're going to reject anything that's against the Torah. All of the flaws that you have will little by little be improved. The weaknesses will turn into your strengths. Your strengths will actually start lighting up and become something more apparent. It'll correct your soul. It'll fix it. Now, of course, this doesn't happen overnight. But one thing we learn from here is that if your wife hates your Torah, if your husband hates your Torah, that's because there's something wrong with the way you're learning Torah. Because the Torah is supposed to fix you. But sometimes a person overthinks things and starts thinking that learning Torah is learning stories. So I know the Torah is affecting me because I know more stories. Well, what if you forget the stories? Does the Torah effect no longer exist? Well, I know I have Torah because I know the laws. Well, what if the laws that you learned are not applicable to the situation at hand? Like, you know the laws of Shabbat, but it's Tuesday. You know the laws of Kashrut, but you're not hungry. You know the laws of Taharat Mishpacha, but you're a single male. Like, so you learn the laws. They're not necessarily always applicable to you, or at that time. Does that mean that the Torah effect is gone? You had it and it's gone? What is it, like keys? You lost the keys? You lost a pet? Oh, no, I know I have the Torah because I look religious. Well, excuse me, but you don't always look religious. We all have to take a shower at some point. We all have to go to that little room that doesn't have a mezuzah. No one looks religious over there. So does the Torah effect go away? Does the Torah disappear? From there, we understand that the Torah effect is not necessarily from the stories or the laws or the clothing, but rather, what does the Torah do for the inside? And how does that get expressed with the outside? Meaning, how does the Torah fix the character traits that are going to be shown with your behavior? If the Torah is affecting you, everyone around you will slowly but surely love you a lot more. Why? You become better. You become more kind. You become more patient. You become more generous. You become less angry. You become happier. You become more loving. You become more sensitive. You become more helpful. In so many words, you become better. A much better version of you. And if you're not, it's not the Torah that's fault. It's yours. If your husband hates the Torah shiurim that you're watching, that's because you are not expressing that knowledge the way it's supposed to, or you're not learning the right shiurim. One or the other, either way, something is wrong in this equation, because the Torah is certainly supposed to make you a better wife. If your wife can't stand it when you open up a sefer, that's simply because she doesn't see any benefit out of it, because you're the same animal you were, and sometimes even worse than before you open up the sefer. If you were becoming a better version, if you were becoming a better husband, if you were becoming a better spouse, if you were becoming a better father, then she would want you to stay in the kollel 24 hours a day, like Rabbi Akiva's wife Rachel. What do you think? Rabbi Akiva's wife was a fool? She was a genius. She knew in order to get the best husband on planet Earth, just to send him to the kollel. How long? As long as it takes, honey. He went for 12 years. Somebody came and made fun of us. She says, you know what? I already know my husband. I know how much he loves me. I know that even though I haven't seen him in 12 years, he's thinking about me because I'm thinking about him. And if he really loves me, he'd go there for another 12 years. And guess what she got? She not only got the number one rabbi of all time with 24,000 students to show for it, where all of our Gemara, our entire Talmud is resting on him. But on top of that, she got the best husband in the world. So when a person understands that the Torah is supposed to affect them, and they don't see the world around them changing, it's not because the problem is with the world, but rather the problem is within us. Many times people say, oh, these people are terrible, this guy is horrible, this one is awful, Rasha, this. Sure, you're right, there are many horrible people, but don't expect to change them by calling them horrible. Know that they're horrible, and use the Torah that you've learned to get them out of horrible. But if you're so focused on their horrible status, guess what? Nevela srucha tova mimenu. A dead animal is better than you. Why? You've learned Torah, and therefore you have all of the tools to be better. Meaning, the person that's horrible, that's angry, that's arrogant, that's a thief, that's whatever he is, he doesn't have the tools to be better. You that you've learned Torah, and all you're focusing on is how everybody else is horrible and you're the best, you're worse than him. Why? Because you have the tools and you still don't know how to use them. So if you're learning Torah, but yet you don't think you need to help your wife once in a while, if you're learning Torah and you don't think that you need to help your husband once in a while, if you're learning Torah and you're not improving yourself as a person, you're not getting the Torah effect you're supposed to. And in fact, the Torah effect is even greater than this. Says the Chazon Ish, the Torah effect is that it's supposed to correct the soul, meaning that the person has to start feeling himself changing. Feeling himself changing to the extent where the Torah starts becoming the light of his day. This, the Chazon Ish says, is a quality of light that the Torah has that cannot be grasped by the human brain. Because this special light lights up the spirit of whoever owns it and purifies it. So that the person's vision is illuminated. What does it mean that this light is something that no one can understand other than the person that owns it. And in fact, it makes the person's vision different. This works in a couple of ways. One way is that when a person has the happiness of Torah, when a person has the light of Torah, all of a sudden, his mood improves. What happened? Nothing. What do you mean? But you're happy. You're smiling. Yeah, so something happened. Other than I learned Torah. No, but something else? No. Everything good at work? Oh yeah, we lost 5,000 over here. The client left over there. I'm still waiting for the email from the landlord. He wants to evict us. Wait. Oh, you tell me it's horrible news. Oh, yeah, I guess. Wait, so you're smiling though? Yeah, Baruch Hashem. I don't understand. You're smiling, but you tell me horrible news. How? Are you insane? No, I'm happy. What do you mean you're happy? But you just said the landlord and the client and all these horrible things. Oh yeah, BeEzrat Hashem. Hashem will take care of those. Wait, so how are you happy? Because those things don't make me happy or sad. The landlord and the client and the money, they're just things that happen in life. What makes me happy is the light. Now, if you tell this to a person that never learned Torah, and I don't mean learn Torah like they heard a 5-minute clip and they think they learned Torah. I'm talking about someone that toiled over Torah and put some serious effort behind it. Pushed themselves a little bit beyond their limits. If your limit is a half hour, you pushed 45 minutes. If your limit is an hour, you pushed 2 hours. If your limit is 2 hours, you push 3 hours. You push yourself. You toil. You exercise that brain. You're going to feel something. And that something is going to be happiness. It's going to be a certain light. You're going to look at the world differently. Now, it doesn't last forever. But it certainly should. And that's why we study again the next day. And that's why we study again later on that day. And we try to do whatever we can to get as many people as possible to do the same, because while all of us may be different places in the world, different monetary status, wealth status, different genders, different ideas, different backgrounds, at the end of it all, everyone is looking for the same thing. Everyone is looking to be happy. But there is no happiness without Torah. Why? Happiness is a spiritual status. It's not something you can buy with money. If someone acquires Torah, they acquire happiness. They acquire much more. But that happiness comes in a form of light. That light begins with simply the mood of the person. Furthermore, a person that never had it can't grasp what I'm saying. How would a bunch of words in a book make me happy? I mean, are they telling happy stories? No, sometimes actually terrible stories. Like if you look at Parashat Ki Tavo, there's nearly nothing happy about it. Yeah, there's some blessings over there, but the curses are so horrible that there's absolutely nothing happy about them. But if you find a chidush in there and you understand what's being said, you're going to be ecstatic. Even if the chidush is how the punishment is much worse than what you thought initially. How? Because happiness is not based on the words, but rather how the words affect your neshama. Happiness has nothing to do with the stories, but rather how those stories affect your neshama. And when a person starts acquiring some of this wisdom, they start acquiring something that the whole world is looking for. Further, this special light lights up the spirit and purifies it so that the person's vision is illuminated. Now there are two aspects of this, vision being illuminated. The Baal Shem Tov was known as an extraordinary tzaddik around the world, and people would come to him with all sorts of problems. asking for the tzaddik to pray for them, to help them. And many times people would come to him asking him to help them find someone that was lost. Someone was lost, kidnapped, someone got lost in the way. It's not like today where everyone is walking around with a navigation system even if they don't realize it, walking around with as a cameraman even though they don't realize it. Everyone that has a phone is a journalist, a walking GPS system, and perhaps even a business. Everyone that has a phone has all of this along with them. So if someone got lost, it's not so hard to find them anymore. And even if they don't have a phone, if they have a credit card, they have any type of technology on them many times, that's how people are found. But in the world of the Baal Shem Tov, this was not necessary. People would come to the Baal Shem Tov and would tell them that their husband, their wife, their kid, whoever is lost, it's gone. For a few days, for a few weeks. No one knows where they are. Sometimes the husband would run away without giving the wife a get. Sometimes the opposite. All types of strange things that people do. And the Baal Shem Tov would take the Torah, open it up, look at the words, as if he's looking at a map. Look at the words. He's right there. He's in Bulgaria. People, Bulgaria? What Bulgaria? What are you talking about, Bulgaria? That's 30 days away. Yeah, he's there. He's in this particular city. Oh, you have the city? Yeah, it's in this address. Right there. It's the house right there. You see it? No, I see the word Yeh. That's what I see. Yeh. Yud, hey, Yud, hey. That's what I see. Oh, you don't see? It's the house right there. Right there, the address. Don't see. How? How do you see the house? You see, everybody else sees words. That's the light. That's the light. And so you don't think that this is something that only happened a couple of 100 years ago. This is something that also happened during our lifetimes. One of the sons of the Baba Sali, Baba Baruch, was a story that was publicized in the papers. People came to him with all sorts of problems. The Abu Chatzira family is known for their miracles, known for their holiness, known for their extraordinary Torah wisdom. The Baba Sali himself was already an Av Bedin when he was 20 years old in Morocco. People understand, to become a Dayan is something that usually takes at least 25 years. He was already a Dayan. And the head of the Dayanim, he was 20 years old. So the Abu Chatzira family had extraordinary Kedusha, one after the other. And his son, one time people came to him and told him that, unfortunately, somebody kidnapped their family member and they wanted ransom because the family was very wealthy. But the ransom was something that's beyond their reach. And these murderers promised that if they don't get the money, they're going to kill the kid or the husband. Where is he? Baruch opens the Sefer Torah. Looks at the words. Everyone else sees words. He doesn't see words though. Looks at the Torah. And then he starts drawing. He starts drawing on a piece of paper. Houses, streets, names of streets. And then he puts the exact house with a street number. In France. How did he get to France? He has it. They give this to the police. The police are astounded that, are you sure? This is what we have. The police go, special mission, they go over there, they find him, they rescue the guy, and this story was all over the papers. You could probably find it on the internet. Until this day, 40 years later probably have passed, anyone that's familiar with the story is still wondering, how did he know? What do you mean he saw it in a book? We see words. There are words. Sometimes we don't even understand what the words say. You're telling me he sees words, but he sees houses, and he sees a map, and he sees the guy in a different country? How? That's the Oraganus, the hidden light. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu said in the beginning of creation, Vayi'o, and he created light. What was this light? There was no sun. Where is this light? Chachamim say that this light was then hidden, because this light allowed anyone to see from one end of the world to the other end of the world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that people would use it for bad things, so he hid it. The Gemara in Masechet Megillah says, where is this light? This light is the Torah. That's the Torah. You want to find that light? You have to find it inside the Torah. So that's why people that have an enormous amount of Torah have enormous light. And sometimes they get these gifts that they can use this light to help others. So this is, in essence, again, one of the examples that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows us to see this light and different aspects of it. And it's not necessarily used always the same way. The Baal Shem Tov used it to spread light to the world, to help people learn Torah, to help people get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but also to find people and rescue them. The same with the Abu Chatzir family, the same with all the tzaddikim throughout all of the years. But unfortunately, sometimes people pretend. People pretend to have this light. They pretend to have this knowledge. And they depend on people's ignorance in order to fool them. Like the person at the beginning of the shiur that thought that that guy was a tzaddik because of the way he looked, because of the fact that he didn't speak, because he was simply at the shul at the right time or really at the wrong time. So a person needs to know that in order to know what the light looks like, a person has to acquire it for himself. You can't just simply point at people and say, oh, this one looks religious and that one looks religious. It's not really going to work. And you're putting yourself in harm's way. The same concept goes with people that learn Torah. They learn Torah because people look a certain way. Oh, this guy's really old. He must, and he tells good stories. He must be a Talmid Chacham. Oh, why do you go against that guy? He must have helped thousands of people. Yeah, he helped them go to Gehinnom. If we went against him, that means because he's helping people go to Gehinnom, not to Gan Eden. We don't go against people because of their looks. We go against people that go against the Torah. So, a person has to understand that in order to speak about the Torah, in order to have any type of opinion about the Torah, a person has to understand what is the Torah bichlal. What is the Torah? What does it say? Have a basic understanding. Have a straight mind. And many times I see this, that people have almost like an unnatural urge to interpret the Torah according to them. Hey, Rabbi, listen, I had this chidush over here. Okay, sure. You want to tell me, and I have no problem. Okay, you want to tell me your chidush, no problem. Did you check Rashi? Did you check Tosfot? You check the Rambam? Did you check the Ramban? You check some of the other mefarshim? No. Oh, so you just came up with this just out of the blue? Like you bought gum at a store? Like you bought milk? Yeah, why, it's not good? Alright, well, let me hear it. And usually, it's not good. Why? Because any type of chidush, any type of understanding has to have some type of, foundation. Has to have some type of footsteps that of greater people than you. But many times people want to interpret the Torah according to them. And this is a flaw. This is a flaw that many people don't realize comes from ego. Comes from having an ego where they feel like, well, I can think. I see him tell stories. I can tell stories. I see him reading stuff. I can read stuff. I see him do this, I could do that. Okay, so do it. But they don't do it. They do it according to them. And it's important for a person to know that to speak about Torah, a person has to understand the Torah. Because if people understood what the Torah is, that in itself would change their life. The HaChaim HaKadosh says in Parashat Ki Tavo, in chapter 6, verse number 8, that if people only knew what the light of Torah is, and how the Torah sweetness tastes, they would chase it to the point of craziness because of how beautiful it is. To such an extent that gold and silver will become worthless in their eyes in comparison to one word of Torah, one letter of Torah. Here the HaChaim HaKadosh, just a few hundred years ago, lived at the same generation as the Baal Shem Tov, and they tried to meet and bring the Mashiach together, but from Shemaim they didn't want that to happen. Anyone that's familiar with the different stories of how the HaChaim HaKadosh and the Baal Shem Tov tried to meet, different things had to happen, different things happened not to make it happen. But they knew of each other, they knew about each other, but could never come together. Physically. They couldn't be at the same place at the same time. And this HaChaim, who has endless insights and light that he's still bringing to the world with every word of his pirushim, of his commentary that you read, he's saying, if people only knew the sweetness of Torah, they would study it and toil over it and literally spent every waking hour cleaving themselves to it to the point of craziness because of how sweet it is. What does it mean to point of craziness? Imagine you found a chocolate, and you found this chocolate, and this chocolate is delicious, but you know everything, even if it's delicious, you can't eat so much. Even if it's a delicious piece of steak, or it's chocolate, or it's anything else, everything you need to take it easy. Don't eat the cow. Eat a piece. Don't eat the factory. Eat a small little bar. But you found this chocolate. And not only found the chocolate, you found a chocolate factory. And the owner says, it's yours. Whatever you want to do with it, do with it. You want to sell, you want to buy, you want to eat, do what you want. And you have a piece of chocolate. And this chocolate is the greatest chocolate you've ever had in your life. And you're like, wow, this is all mine? It's yours. Can I have another? Hey, it's yours. Do what you want with it. You eat another piece of chocolate. Oh, wow, it's amazing. You eat another piece of chocolate. It's like, this thing just keeps getting better. And you eat more and more. Now you know subconsciously you're killing yourself. Why? You're going to eat enough chocolate, you're going to explode from the chocolate. You're going to turn into a bar of chocolate. But you want more. That's the Torah, says the HaChaim. That's the Torah. Only difference is you don't die from Torah. You only get better from Torah. But people would chase it and literally do anything and everything for it. And lose their mind with their obsession over it just because of how good it is. And the difference between the Torah and the chocolate, again, is the fact that the Torah, the more you acquire of it, the better everything becomes. The better you become. So on one end, you're seeing that there are people that insist on explaining and elaborating and philosophizing over the Torah, not like the halacha, not like the commentaries, not like anybody else, but rather themselves. And unfortunately, they and their students and whoever else is around them is not creating any light, but rather darkness. And then there are simple people that could be in a kollel somewhere in Yerushalayim or in America or anywhere else, and they have this light that's just constantly there, this light that's illuminating enough to affect others, even without them speaking to them, just by existing, just by walking among them, just by praying with them. And these people have this light, and you want some too. The HaChaim HaKadosh says it's available to anyone that wants it, as long as they want the light and not the results of the light. Many times people confuse the light with the results of the light, because they see the tzaddikim, the Rav Ovadias, the Baal Shem Tovs, the Steipler Gaon, his son Rav Kanievsky, the Baba Sali, all of the great tzaddikim. They hear the stories about them, of how they did this, and the wonders, and the extraordinary achievements, and the books, and the chidushim. These are all the results of the light. The light was within them. Many times people want the results of the light. They want to be Gdolado. Okay, you have to toil. And hopefully one day you'll become a Talmid Chacham, and then we'll talk about Gdolado. They want to be famous. Why don't you just be righteous? They want to change their clothes and look different. You could do that without Torah. You just go to a clothing store and just buy whatever you want. Or you could just go to a fabric store and sew yourself up something. They want the results of the light, not the light itself. Now, how do you know if you have the results of the light or the light? Usually, a person is not honest with themselves. As the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat says, "En adam roeh chova be'atzmo." A person does not see the obligation or the deficiency in himself. So we're not always the best judges of our own character flaws. The way to see it, of whether you have this light or not, is look at your surroundings. Is your wife suffering, or is she happy? Are your kids happy, or they can't wait until you leave and go to work? Are your business partners excited about the fact that you're their partner, or they really hope that they didn't sign that partnership agreement? Are people looking to do business with you because of who you are or what you have? And these types of things are, in essence, going to be somewhat of like a mirror to let you know what you look like. Whether you are a light that's giving off light, or your darkness giving off darkness. If the world around you is improving as a result of your Torah, your wife is becoming happier, your husband is becoming happier, your kids are becoming happier, everyone is excited about you learning Torah, they want to listen to your Torah, they want to learn with you Torah, they want to be part of your Torah, everyone wants a piece of this light, you're on the right track. But if every time you say, "Hey, listen, I have something to say, I heard at the Shiur Torah," and they start running away, there's a little more work to do. Perhaps you should turn on the light. It's a little dark in here. It's a little dark. So here the Chazon Ish is telling us the person's vision is illuminated as a result of this light. And this will give us the last self-check, and perhaps the most important part of the self-check, of whether we have this light. Because our vision is supposed to be illuminated. What does it mean? That we have to see things in the Torah that happen in a different part of the world? No, that's just one aspect of it. The vision being illuminated that the Chazon Ish is discussing or giving examples of is that how you see the world, how you see yourself, how you see people, is going to change as a result of it. Where a person is going to look at things differently than the world around them. The world around them celebrates people getting punched in the face, celebrates People crashing, people failing, people getting hurt, people getting insulted, people walking around immodestly, people being arrogant. That's what the world celebrates. How do you know? Simply, look at the news, look at the media. Those are the things that are constantly in front of us. The most recent clip of someone crashing. The most recent video of someone getting robbed. The most recent clip of somebody getting knocked out. The most recent article of somebody declaring bankruptcy. Most recent clip of somebody suing somebody and causing them to go bankrupt. And all types of things. Generally, the negativity is what brings people to the media, to watch, to read. They're projecting darkness, but they're attracting people that are attracted to darkness like flies. When a person has Torah, their vision is illuminated, such as they start looking at those things differently. He says, he will love humility by his very nature and hate pride by nature. Meaning that this person that has this light, the more of this light that he has, the more he will love being humble, and the more he will hate pride and arrogance. He sees arrogant people, they look disgusting to him, just like vomit. He sees people expressing themselves in an arrogant way, he wants to vomit. It's simply, ugh. It's gross. Regardless of what they're saying and what they're teaching, he rejects it. On the other hand, somebody insults him or gives him a compliment, it all sounds the same. He has a character trait of equilibrium. Why? He knows that the insults don't really mean anything unless they come from HaShem. And the compliments also don't mean anything unless they come from HaShem. So it's all the same. In fact, sometimes when they compliment him, he feels a little bit disgusted by it. Why? They think I'm much better than what I really am. They think I'm much smarter than what I really am. It's a little bit strange. Why do they think I'm so good? Why do they think I'm so smart? And this, Rabotai, is a common denominator you see in many Chachamim, where they literally, the more compliments they got, the more you see their face changing and not liking it. But it was necessary to do it for the honor of the Torah that they had. But they themselves hated it. Humility was something that they were attracted to like magnets. They love doing good by others by nature and hate cruelty by nature. A person that has this light is attracted to doing good things. He doesn't need anyone to tell him, remember, do the right thing. He doesn't need anyone to remind. He likes the right thing. He likes the good thing. That's what he wants to do. Yeah, but the good thing is going to cost a lot of money. Okay, that's what you have money for. If I have the money, I can do it. Yeah, but the good thing is going to cause you to lose money. Well, if that's what it costs to do good, then by all means I have to lose. Well, doing good, you're not going to be popular. Popular. The lights are going to break. By all means. You do whatever you have to do in order to constantly express good. Why? Because that is what you're attracted to. That is what you constantly want. When a person has this light in their life, everything that they see is based on good and bad. Good, that's where I go. Bad, I run away from. Now, when they see people that are being cruel, when they see people that are being bullies, when they see people picking on people, when they see people doing bad things, you don't have to tell them, what do you think? You don't have to tell them, maybe we should do something. You don't have to tell, why? Immediately they have this urge that something has to be done and they have to be the one to do it. Why? It was brought in front of me, I have to say something. Yeah, but it's not your business. Not my business is my business, but if I can do something, if it's within my power to do something, I'm going to do something. Why? He's being cruel. And that's one of the things that you constantly see that's the opposite of society. In society today, it's very common for people to want to see cruel things, to want to see bad things. If you show this to anyone that's righteous, to tzaddikim, they're not going to be attracted to those things. In fact, they're going to find it strange that you do. Why did you show me this? Why did you show me this guy getting punched? Why did you show me this guy getting this? Why? They have no idea why people even like this stuff. And this is one of the big differences that a person will see within themselves. The more light you have, the more you start distancing yourself away from those things. Now again, all of this stuff takes time, but it certainly doesn't take forever. It all depends on how you apply it to your life. The more you learn, the more light you're supposed to acquire. If you're learning 4, 5, 6 hours a day of shiurim, of books, of a combination of both, then certainly it's going to come to you much faster. But if you've been learning already for several hours a day for 4, 5, 6 years, and you're still the same beast that you were 5 years ago, something is seriously wrong. Something is seriously wrong. You're not applying the Torah to your life. You're just learning it like storybooks. And the Torah is not a book of stories. The Torah is light. Now, one of the ways that we can see a person that had this light, we can see through their life and how they acted. Rav Auberback, alav shalom, had in his keilah a guy wasn't exactly the healthiest guy mentally in the world, let's just say that. And he had this obsession with singing. And he always wanted to be a Chazon. Now, if he had a good voice, that would be wonderful. To say he had a terrible voice was a compliment. His voice was much worse than terrible. He had the type of voice that had all the strange, it sounded like a broken engine of some kind, of different machines the world has never seen or heard before. And on top of that, it had a fountain coming out of it as he would spit constantly at whoever was next to him, would receive the weather report privately. And he insisted on being the Chazan constantly. Now, of course, no one really wanted him to be the Chazan. So people would constantly volunteer, get there a little earlier to be the Chazan. But anytime there was a few moments to wait, he would tell people, come on, I'll sing for you. I have this new song. No, I gotta go. But tomorrow you can sing to me. And they would literally run away from him. The only one that would never run away was Rav Auberback. In fact, every day, he would come to Rav Auberback, and he'd say, for the Rav, I have a song for you. New song. Sure, sing. And he would walk with him in the street. He'd walk with the Rav, and one step, and literally, the windows were contemplating whether to break or not. But Rav Auberback is sitting and listening to the song. No one knows what's going on here. Is this atomic warfare? Is this some biochemical? What's going on? But Rav Auberback is enjoying himself, listening to this guy's screams every day. At the end of the walk, at the end of the song, finally all the windows calmed down. Finally, the helicopters stopped flying around trying to figure out what's going on here, if we're being attacked by aliens. Finally, Rav Auberback would tell him, thank you very much, I really enjoyed it. And he would give him money. Now, think about this. If somebody doesn't want this anymore, what do? Thank you. And the next day, no thank you. The next day you disappear. You go to a different shul, you go to a different planet, go to a different country. You do whatever you can to avoid it. The last thing you would do is pay the guy to give him the confidence that it was good, that you won again. And this would happen every single day. The guy would tell the rest of the kila, I'm going to sing a song for you. No, don't sing a song. You guys don't know music. I got Auberback, he's ready for me. And I sing to him. I have a new one, even though it was the same thing as yesterday. Same thing, every day. This broken engine, eventually the helicopter stopped saying, they already knew what's happening. But the point is, Rabotai, is that how that we sometimes hear our baby crying, or hear a kid crying, neighbor making some noise. Automatically we get upset. Ooh, how dare they have music on at 11 o'clock at night. Oh, this kid is crying. I can't believe it. I'm losing my focus. Oh, she's talking on the phone too loud. You know, regular people, we hear some extra sound anywhere. Automatically it completely changes our equilibrium. We're completely distorted. We don't know what to do with our life. I can't function anymore. We have to move. We have to get out of here. What happened, honey? What happened? The neighbor, he has the music on. It's 9:30 at night. Okay, so don't listen to it. Yeah, but it's nasty songs with all types of cuss words. And okay, so close the window. It's closed, and I can still hear it, and I can feel it. Okay, so go to a different room. No, I don't. We should go and tell him. Go, you want to tell him, but it's not going to change. You're going to do it again tomorrow. And the next day. The baby's crying. The kid is complaining. Automatically, all of us, with no exceptions, get bothered by one of them. But those that have the light, they can literally listen to it and pretend it's music. Pretend it's music, Rabotai. Just understand the difference here. They can pretend the worst noises in the world. Music. Why? Different light. Different perspective. But they weren't born this way. They acquired this over a long time of toiling in Torah. This vision illuminates a person's humility to the point, or limits perspective of humility to the point where he loves it. And yet he hates pride. He loves good and hates cruelty. He loves patience and hates anger. Because all the wise person will want to do is to correct his character traits. The person that has this light, even if it's a little bit of it, all of a sudden he has this desire, this attraction to fixing himself more. What do you want to do today? I want to be better. Okay, but what do you want to do for work or for money or for whatever I want to do? All that stuff is good. I need to work. I need to make money. I need to eat. All that stuff. That's, yeah. But the main thing I want to do, I want to be better. That's what I want to be. Better than what? Than yesterday. Yeah, but you were okay yesterday. Yesterday you didn't kill anybody. Yesterday you did some mitzvot. Yesterday you did a lot of good things yesterday. Yeah, today I want to do better. Why? Because anytime a person has a little bit of this holy light in them, they start wanting to be better. I want to have less anger and more love. I want to have less pride and more humility. I want to have more patience. I want to have all of these good things and also more disgust from the bad things. The more a person has this Torah light, the more they want this light. Because they see how good it is, even if they only felt it for a moment. And when you see the results of the light, everyone wants the results of the light. But those that actually have some form of possession of that light realize that you can't buy that light. And you can't just decide you have the light. You can't pretend to love God. You either feel it or you don't. You either operate your life with love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu and awe of Him, or you don't. When a person understands that this light is not something that you could just decide you have, but rather it's something that you acquire, they realize they have to work for it. And Chazon Ish continues and says that this wise person, all they would want to do is correct their character traits, because they know that correcting their character traits, that is the way to acquire the light, and that is also the way to feel the light. Consequently, he will regret his bad tendencies exceedingly, and there will be no greater pain to him than the pain of having stumbled and committed some condemnable act. So, as a result of this light of holiness, this person now not only becomes more attracted to fixing themselves, but also more sensitive to their flaws. Where anytime they see any type of mistake that they made, they became angry when they shouldn't have been, they expressed themselves in an inappropriate way, they were arrogant, they were stingy, they were whatever they did that was a flaw, it's going to hurt. How much? Depending on how much light you have. The more light you have, the more painful the flaws are. Because when a person possesses this light, that means that they're also much more sensitive to any type of darkness. That's also the reason why when the Chachamim that really have this light, they just hear the word Gehenna or anything to do with punishment, they have a physical reaction many times. They close their eyes, they literally, you see sometimes the tremble in them. Why? You just said the word Gehenna. Other people are watching all types of videos of people getting killed and shot, and they don't feel anything. I remember years ago I had a couple of students tell me, Rabbi, can you make a movie about like scary stuff? You know, like this lectures, but you can make a movie out of it? I said, yeah, BeEzrat Hashem, one day. But why are you excited about it? No, I love that stuff. I told them, you realize when I study that material, I cry. And they looked at me funny, like, what do you mean you cry? Isn't that cool? No, it's not cool. There's nothing cool about it. It's scary. It's like, I think it's cool. And you realize, okay, you got some work to do. Got some work to do. There's a little bit of too much darkness in there. They're enjoying the darkness. There's nothing to enjoy about it. If you're enjoying the darkness, there's something, you have darkness. Now again, these are subjects that are necessary in order to wake us up. But when people enjoy it so much, there's something wrong. That means that there is very little light, if any at all, in that person. And that's one of the things you see that's the opposite with Chachamim. The more they are wise with Torah, the more they have this light of Torah, the more they tremble at any darkness whatsoever, even if it's just simply the threat of darkness. And the more they celebrate any new light that they can acquire in any way. And then he brings the story, which actually the Rambam brings 800 years ago, in his commentary on Pirkei Avot, Mishnah 4 in chapter 4, where the Rambam says, I once spoke to one of the big Hasidim, and I asked him, what was the happiest moment of your life? And he told me this story. He said, once I had to go on a trip and I went on a boat. And they put me on the bottom of the boat, near all the different poor people that were there, near some of the merchandise and everything, not at the top of the boat with the rich people. Even though he was a big Hasid, even though he was a big tzaddik, from there we also learned that Hasidut, is not necessarily what we only know of for the last few hundred years of the Baal Shem Tov, but rather the status of Chassid means righteousness that already existed from the times of the Gemara. And anyway, the Rambam says, this Chassid tells me that he was at the bottom of the boat. And at one point, he was laying on the bench over there, some type of bench or some type of... And one of the, a group of the rich people that were at the top of the boat decided to come down to bother the poor people, make fun of them, mock them. He said, as soon as one of them saw me, he saw me as so lowly and beneath him that he decided to open up his pants and urinate right on me. And at that moment I thought to myself, what arrogance this person has. But I didn't take anything personally. I didn't think anything to heart. I didn't get my feelings hurt. I didn't get angry. And after he completed his disgusting act, I found myself extraordinarily happy. Happy that I did not get angry. Happy that I didn't even get upset. Happy that it didn't affect me in any way. And that was the happiest day of my life, where I knew that he did not affect me. He did not decide whether I'm lowly or not. What his opinion is his opinion. The way he acted obviously is inappropriate. But it didn't change my personal belief, my ideas, or my feelings. This is what made me the happiest throughout all my life. And the Rambam writes, this is certainly the expression of humility at its best, where a person understands that no one in the world can help you, can hurt you, other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're not going to look at people as beneath you, and you're certainly not going to let people dictate that you are beneath them. You have your Torah, you have your knowledge, you have your light. You determine how much of that light you will possess based on your effort. Whatever they think of you, they think. And their flaws are your opportunities to help them, not your opportunities to mock them. Yeah, but they're nasty. That's even more of a reason to help them, because they don't realize that they're sick. The perspective is very different of those that have this light. And the beautiful thing is, Rabotai, is that we could all use more light, regardless of where we stand. Rabbi Ephraim writes in a Parashat Ekev, in his Sefer Asicha Shvuit, about last week's parasha, really, Parashat Pinchas, where he talks about Kanaim Pog'im Bo. There's an halacha, the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 81b, brings, and the proof is from Parashat Pinchas, where when there's a Jew committing an act of immorality with a non-Jew, the Torah permits them to, someone that's truly zealous, to kill them. And he says that in our generation, not only do we not see anyone like Pinchas, but needless to say, we see people that pretend that zealousness is not good. In fact, loving God is where you need to be. But the truth is that most people who say they love Hashem don't even know what loving Hashem is,
and the way you see it is simply by their actions. Because as soon as they have a small test, all of a sudden this loving Hashem disappears. They say, I love Hashem, but they do business on Shabbat. They say, I love Hashem, but they look at immodest things. They say, I love Hashem, but filth comes out of their mouth. They say, I love Hashem, but as soon as someone disagrees with them, they publicly shame them. So, loving Hashem has a different meaning to them. And what a person needs to know, that loving Hashem means not that you pray or that you learn Torah, because that's for you. As the Shlomo HaMelech brings in Mishlei, in Proverbs chapter 9, verse 12, Im chachamta, chachamta lach, if you acquired wisdom, you acquired it for yourself. You keep Shabbat, that's for you. Yom Kippur is for you. But one of the ways that a person can show love of Hashem is to know that there's nothing that you can do for Hashem. But you can connect to Him by acquiring more of this light, acquiring more of the Torah, to fix yourself. Because once you acquire more of this Torah and we improve ourselves, you will develop the natural tendency to help others. And as the founder of Eshet Torah, that was that's located in was located by the Kotel of Weinberg, Noach Weinberg. He was the Rosh YESHIVA there of Eshet Torah. He says that the only thing, the only thing that we can give back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is to bring back his kids. All of his kids that are off the derech. That's the only thing we can do for him. And this actually applies both to Jews and Gentiles. In fact, when a person really does what Hashem says, everything that they will do will succeed. Even if it doesn't look like it. But if a person pretends to love Hashem and simply changes the Torah, then everything that they do will lead to darkness. It's sad that today there are some people that are in these yeshivot, that amazing, extraordinary tzaddikim built, but are saying things that are against the Torah. Saying things that are the opposite of the Torah. But if you look at some of the original teachings, original thought processes, original actions, you see very different results. Rabbi brings a story of what happened at Eshet Torah years ago, before it became as popular as it was. He says back then, in order for them to acquire more students, the rabbis would have to come down to the Kotel HaMaravi and look for people and see who looks like a tourist, young person, try to convince them to come learn with them, and then try to convince them to learn even more and stay with them for a period of time. And one time, one of the rabbis came down to the Kotel for the daily trip, and he saw this young man with a little kippah that you get from like weddings, looks like a cardboard box, on his head. And he came up to them, he says, you want to come learn Torah? He's like, I'm not sure. Because where are you from? I'm from America. Yeah, what do you do now? What are you doing here? He goes, no, I'm taking a break between school. Oh, what school? And he says the name of one of the Ivy League schools. So obviously this kid is really smart. Now the rabbi is even more interested in getting this kid to come learn with them. Not that it's any different, but here you have somebody smart, and on top of it, he's here. Come on, come learn, you'll enjoy it. If you're a smart guy, you'll enjoy the Torah even more. So he gets the guy to come, and the kid is a genius. Not only genius, he's dedicated. Every day he's on time, and he's learning, and they're going, and they're learning, and he is developing fast. He's teaching the kid how to put on tefillin, He's teaching the kids all of the different laws, and the kid is catching on everything right away. Unbelievable. As if he has no Yetzirah. 6 months later, the kid says to the rabbi, okay, Rabbi, I appreciate everything you guys have done for me, but it's time for me to go back home. Come on, 6 months we're learning together. Stay with us. Learn some more. It's a lot more Torah than 6 months. Listen, I appreciate it, but I got to go home. So the rabbi takes an interest. You know, all this time they're focusing on learning Torah. There's not enough time to socialize. All he knows, this kid went to a really good school. American kid doesn't know anything about Torah. That's it. That's all he knows about him. But now, he knows. He learned. Why should he leave now? He says, why, it's not good here? Lo tov kan, makara. He goes, no, everything is good. I just simply want to go back to see my family. So, the rabbi, out of, just being polite, he goes, what's with your family? Well, what's the name of your mom, your brothers? And he starts telling them all types of names that don't sound Jewish. And then he says to him, wait, you're Jewish, right? The kid says, no, I'm Christian. The rabbi's face changed. What? You're not Jewish? Your mom is Jewish, maybe? He goes, no. Your father, anybody Jewish? No, nothing. 6 months, they're teaching this kid Torah. He's not Jewish. And then they say, okay, you know what? You want to be Jewish? He says, no, I don't want to be Jewish. Well, why not? Aren't you interested? He goes, no, it's very interesting. It's great. It's just that you have too many laws. It's too hard. I can't do it. I want to be, I'll keep the 7 Noahide laws. And he starts repeating the 7 Noahide laws that he learned in the 6 months of Torah. He goes, yeah, but if you do the 613 mitzvot, then you could do more. He goes, yeah, but then he starts giving them the different complications that he learned over the 6 months. Okay, they part ways. The kid goes back. The rabbi literally, almost broke. It was so hard for him to accept the fact that he just spent 6 months of teaching of somebody that's not even Jewish, doesn't want to be Jewish, and in so many words, a waste of effort and all resources. 10 years pass. 10 years pass. During those 10 years, the rabbis from Eshet Torah go down each day to the kotel, recruit some more people. It's not easy. It's not fun, but it's necessary. Why? The founders of the yeshiva said, you want to return something to HaShem? Return his kids. But after 10 years, one day, they see a young man walking into the yeshiva. Says, yeah, can I help you? Is this Eshet Torah? They say, yeah. Okay, I want to learn here. Sure, have a seat. The kid comes in with a bag, just got off the flight. Okay, great. Start learning with him. But this time they check. You Jewish, everybody's Jewish. Okay, Baruch Hashem, start learning with the kid. Not an hour passes by, another kid comes. Yeah, is this Eshet Torah? Yeah, I want to learn here. Okay, come in. Within a few days, they got a bunch of guys in the yeshiva. Now, in the beginning, 1, 2 appeared. Okay, it's a miracle. Baruch Hashem, it's like, after a week, they see all these kids. Where did you guys come from? All of a sudden, we don't have to go recruit. Everybody's coming to us. Where did you guys come from? They all gave the same answer. We all go to this Ivy League school, and we have this professor. And as soon as we sign up to his course, he asks us, are you Jewish? We say, yeah. He says, you want to waste your time in my course? Don't waste your time in my course. You want to be really smart? You want to challenge your mind at the highest possible level? Go to the yeshiva Eshet Torah over there. Over there they're going to challenge you. Don't waste your time in my course. Okay, he's one of the most respected professors in our school. He said it, we left, we went. And now we're here. Professor, who is this professor? Give me his name. They start getting the name, start looking it up. They call. Hi, Professor, thank you very much. We're calling from Esher Torah. Wanted to know, these students that we just got in this last week, bunch of them, they came from you. I mean, do you know us? I mean, is there any reason why you're sending us all these students? Are you Jewish? He says, no, I'm not Jewish. So why are you sending us all these students? He says, because I know how good Judaism is. I know how good your Torah is. So how do you know? He says, 10 years ago, I went there, and you sat with me for 6 months and showed me how beautiful your Torah is. And now I know that any time I get a Jewish kid that comes to my class, I tell him, you want real wisdom? I send him to you guys. From there we see, Rabotai, the foundation is good, the light is there, the actions will bring results. You don't need to change the Torah. You don't need to change and philosophize and try manipulating the truth in order to fit the audience. The only thing that needs changing is ourselves. When we bring in more light into ourselves, we will be able to project more light into the world. We'll be able to help more people. We'll be able to help create more light in the world. But unfortunately, when people never even know what the light looks like and somehow believe that they possess it and think that they can simply share this non-existing light that they think they have, all they're doing is sharing the darkness of arrogance on anyone they choose to be a victim. With this, we know that our Torah is not something that is just there to learn and hopefully you'll know how to live. Our Torah is real. Our Torah is something you can feel. Our Torah is something you can see. Our Torah is something that changes us and the world around us. If you don't feel the change, if you don't see the change, start changing yourself, and then you'll see it. Thank you for learning with me, and BeEzrat HaShem, each and every single one of us will have the courage to overcome all of the darkness, of the flawed character traits that we all have in order to make room for the light we want. Thank you for learning with me. BeEzrat HaShem, we'll learn again later this week.
I've never said this story to anybody. We're at the lake. We're supposed to meet her family there. Set up tent. We're leaving the lake. Bottles start flying. I'm not sure what's going on. I open the window. I look over towards her side, and my window's open, and I start getting hit from the side, just as hard as they came. Like 3-4 guys just beating the smoke at him. I'm a big firearm guy. I'm big into guns. I'm getting hit. I'm taking the hits. I look over. I'm going in and out. So I go in and out of consciousness because they're knocking me out. At one point, I came back to it. I looked over, and they are opening the door to pull my girlfriend out. The people. There's a lot of them, like tons of people everywhere. So when I saw the door open and they were going to pull her out, I noticed my door was open. So when I noticed that they were going to pull us out of the car to harm us in a certain way, I don't know what they were planning to do. I had a gun in my door. I pulled the gun out. My guns were always loaded. I took the gun, I put it in the guy's chest, and I pulled the trigger. Whoa.